I'd always dreamed of a quiet life in the suburbs, white picket fence, friendly neighbors, maybe a dog or two. When my wife Lila and I moved into Sunny Hills, a cozy little neighborhood with manicured lawns and cul-de-sacs, it felt like we'd hit the jackpot. The houses were cute, the streets were clean, and the HOA promised to keep everything picture perfect. But nobody warned us about Karen. Oh, Karen, queen of the HOA, self-appointed ruler of Sunny Hills, and the human equivalent of a wasp in your picnic basket. We'd been in our new home for barely a week when Karen first struck. I was out front planting marigolds along our walkway when I heard her heels clacking like a metronome on steroids. "Excuse me," she barked, clutching a clipboard like it was the Constitution. "Your mailbox is half an inch too close to the curb. Fix it, or you'll be fined." I blinked, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. That was my introduction to Karen, the woman who'd turned my suburban dream into a petty war zone. Our little house sat at the corner of Maple Drive with a wooden fence along the side that faced the main road. It was a nice fence, sturdy stained cedar. Nothing fancy, but it did the job. Lila and I decided to jazz it up with a small wooden sign that read, "The Cooper's Corner Est, 2025. It was cute, handmade, and most importantly, within HOA guidelines. Or so we thought. One sunny Saturday, I was sipping coffee on the porch when I saw Karen storming down the street, her face redder than a stop sign. She stopped dead in front of our fence, glared at the sign, and smacked it so hard it spun on its hinges. I nearly choked on my coffee. She didn't stop there. She ripped the sign off, tossed it into our yard like trash, and scribbled furiously on her clipboard before marching off. I ran outside, picked up the sign, and saw a note taped to it. "Unapproved, decoration remove, or face fines." I was livid. That sign wasn't just wood and paint. It was a symbol of our new start, our home. Lila came out, saw my face, and knew something was up. "What's wrong, Ben?" she asked. I showed her the sign and Karen's note. Her eyes narrowed. "Oh, hell no," she muttered. We weren't going to let this slide, but we also weren't stupid. Karen ruled the HOA like a dictator, and going head-to-head would only make things worse. We needed to play smart, and the next few weeks were a masterclass in Karen's absurdity. She'd patrol the neighborhood daily, her clipboard a weapon of mass annoyance. She fined the Millers for excessive dandelions, and there were 3. She reported the Garcia's kids for riding scooters too loudly. And us, she hit us with violation after violation, grass too long, trash cans out 5 minutes past pickup, even a suspiciously bright porch light. It was harassment plain and simple, but the HOA board. Karen's loyal minions backed her every move. Then came the shocking incident that pushed us over the edge. One evening, Lila and I were hosting a small barbecue for a few neighbors. It was chill burgers, music, some laughs. Karen wasn't invited, obviously, but that didn't stop her. Around 8 p.m., she barged into our backyard uninvited and started yelling about unauthorized gatherings. Before we could respond, she grabbed a beer bottle from the table, smashed it on our patio, and screamed, "This is a family neighborhood, not a frat house." Glass flew everywhere, and our neighbor's kid, little Emma, started crying. I was shaking with rage, but kept my cool for Emma's sake. Karen stormed off, leaving us to clean up her mess. That was it. Karen had crossed a line, smashing a bottle in our yard, scaring a kid, all because she couldn't stand us living our lives. No more playing nice. Lila and I sat down that night, fuming but focused. "We're not moving," I said, "and we're not letting her win." Lila grinned, a spark in her eyes. "Then let's make her regret this." We started digging into the HOA rules, looking for loopholes. Turns out Karen's precious bylaws were her weakness. The rules were strict about physical signs, size, placement, approval process, but said nothing about projected displays, no restrictions on lights, projections, or temporary visuals, as long as they didn't damage property. A plan started forming, one so petty, so perfect, it felt like poetic justice. Our neighbor Jake was a tech wizard with a garage full of gadgets. Over beers in our garage, away from Karen's prying eyes, we pitched him. Our idea project, our unapproved fence signs message onto Karen's garage door, big and bold for the whole neighborhood to see. Jake's eyes lit up. "Oh man, this is going to be legendary," he said, pulling out a high-lumen projector he'd used for Halloween displays. We spent days designing the projection, the Cooper's Corner-est 2025, in huge glowing letters, with a cheeky addition, approved by common sense. We even added a cartoon picket fence for flair. But we didn't stop there. We wanted Karen to feel the sting. Jake suggested looping a slideshow of HOA violations, real ones pulled from public records, showing Karen's own infractions. Turns out, her prized rose garden was 6 inches over the property line, and her tasteful lawn gnomes, unapproved. We had receipts, and we were ready to share them. The plan was set for Friday night, when Karen hosted her weekly HOA meeting at her house. The whole board would be there, plus half the neighborhood crammed into her living room to kiss her ring. We waited until dusk, when her garage door was a perfect blank canvas. Jake set up the projector across the street, hidden in his van, while Lila and I watched from our porch, hearts pounding. This was it, our shot to flip the script. At 7:30 p.m., Jake hit the switch. The projection lit up Karen's garage like a movie screen. The Cooper's Corner-est 2025, in blazing white, the cartoon fence bouncing playfully. The slideshow kicked in, cycling through Karen's violations with captions like "Oops, Karen," and "Rules for thee, not for me." Neighbors started peeking out their windows, then stepping outside, phones in hand, recording the spectacle. Laughter rippled through the street. Inside Karen's house, chaos erupted. We could hear her screeching through her open windows. "What is this? Turn it off." She burst out her front door, her face a mix of fury and panic, only to see her own rule-breaking plastered for all to see. The HOA board members filed out behind her, looking mortified. One of them, Mrs. Patel, who'd always seemed fed up with Karen, started clapping. Others joined in. Karen was unraveling, and we were just getting started. But then the unexpected happened. Karen, in a fit of rage, grabbed a rake from her yard and charged across the street toward Jake's van. "I'll sue you all," she screamed, swinging the rake like a madwoman. Jake slammed the van door shut just in time. But Karen's rake smashed the projector's lens, killing the display. The crowd gasped. She'd gone too far, and everyone saw it. The aftermath was glorious. The neighborhood group chat exploded with videos of the projection and Karen's meltdown. By morning, someone had filed a police report for vandalism. Karen's rake attack was caught on Jake's dash cam. The HOA board, under pressure from angry residents, held an emergency meeting and voted to remove Karen as president. Her own violations, now public, didn't help her case. She was fined $500 for the rose garden and gnomes, and her reputation was toast. Lila and I put our sign back on the fence, this time with a new note. Approved by the people. Nobody touched it. Karen kept a low profile after that, her clipboard days over. We heard she was selling her house, but nobody cared enough to confirm Sunny Hills felt like ours again, a real community. Not Karen's fiefdom. Looking back, I realized this wasn't just about a sign or a projection. It was about standing up to bullies who hide behind rules to control others. We didn't just win a petty war. We took back our home. And yeah, it felt damn good. The end.